There was a time when the Communist Workers' Party and other groups like that across the country were organizing at a rate that was really unprecedented, that people were doing a different kind of organizing because that movement, it was a new communist movement, a new left movement, that people came with great skill. We had come out of various movements, civil rights, anti-war, we had come with skills. And we were talking about capitalism. And we were talking about the division, how we could not allow the division along racial lines. Greensboro was at a time similar to this. It was a time when there was an uprising, there was a rise in white supremacy. Greensboro represented one of the first times in recent history that the Klan and Nazis joined forces. They joined forces, and then they were significantly aided in carrying out these murders by the police and the BATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms folks. But on that day, when many of us were planning for a conference and an anti-Klan rally, we were just beginning to see this new upsurge. We were at a place that was a place for staging, not an announced place. And the Klan drove in a caravan. We believed at that time that they were just harassing the crowd, but the caravan went through to the end of the street. The last car, people got out without looking back, without dropping cigarettes from their lips, unlocked their trunks, took out guns, and started to shoot people. 5 people are killed and 10 are wounded. And there was no police, no emergency service people on the scene. A BATF agent had driven with them all the way to the city limits of Greensboro. And on that day, it was very clear that they were shooting in a crowd and shooting particular people, mostly leaders of the Communist Workers' Party at that time.
And that so mobilized a counter response. And Anne Braden was one of the key people to pull together a really large regional demonstration and protest.
People would say, based on Anne's history, that of course Anne would show up, right? That she would be speaking on that stage. But what people don't realize is that Anne had been in Greensboro from the moment she heard about it. She heard about it and made her way to Greensboro, and she didn't know us. She came because she didn't know us personally, but she knew us, right? And so she came to be a part of that. And then when she found that in 1 week, the mood had changed, the political understanding that was promoted by the press and the police and the folks who run this country was not that people had been murdered, but that these communists deserved it. That we had in some way called it upon ourselves. And the red baiting began, and Anne was not having it. Anne was not having it. Anne really used her political courage and her political understanding to open that up, to make room for widows to be on the stage, to make room for our voices to be in a struggle that had taken our people.
The men who pulled the triggers that killed 5 people here on the streets of Greensboro are dangerous men who must be brought to justice. But they are not the cause of our problem. They are the result. The real danger today comes from the people in high places, from the halls of Congress to the boardrooms of our big corporations, who are telling the white people that if their taxes are eating up their paychecks, it's not because of our bloated military budget, but because of government programs that benefit black people. Those people in high places who are telling white people that if young whites are unemployed, it's because blacks are getting all the jobs. Our problem is the people in power who are creating a scapegoat mentality. That is what is creating the climate in which the Klan can grow in this country, and that is what is creating the danger of a fascist movement in the 1980s in America.
What we saw in the speech that Anne Braden gave was a speech where she recognized those who had been killed, but also took this opportunity to do a political analysis of what happened. That it wasn't just about the people with the guns on that day. It was certainly about them, but it was about the people who allowed that and encouraged that and enabled that. And she wanted everybody who could hear her voice to hear that part. So that was an amazing thing about her that day. The other thing is she had behind her two of the widows. The piece that we don't often hear about is the impact and effect of those murders, not only on us and the families and the community where it happened, but the impact had a chilling effect on a growing movement, and it divided the movement. And so Anne had them behind her for a reason, to show solidarity when often solidarity wasn't being extended, even by our own folks who were doing similar work. This whole stigma around communism really was all that this was about right then. It was a terrible, corrosive kind of thing. But back to what we were saying before about people, if you tell the truth and do the work, that people will listen and not be fooled. Anne was like that. She had that gift of talking to people, and people are like that. And when people in my community were approached to not work with me because I was a communist, there was this one woman I was doing police brutality work with at the time, Mrs. Farrell, and she said, "I don't care what you call her, she's doing God's work."
We'll believe in freedom cannot